All right, Andrew, hit us with the Sif Spoil theme song for this week.
Amazonian woman, fight along with me.
Nice.
Amazonian woman.
Yeah.
You are so pretty. She fought in the great old war against Remus Lupin, the god of war. Amazonian woman.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well done.
Little Guess Who, huh?
Yeah, very nice. Welcome to the post-pod Sift Spoil part of the exercise, where our theme song is different every single week because we want something to be a surprise.
Yeah.
Highly recommend, if you have not, listened to the regular podcast, do that first because we're just going to be jumping off from there. We're not going to repeat a lot of our review stuff that we did. Number 2, if you haven't seen the movie, please go away because
Go away.
because we're going to be jumping all over the place. You're just going to be confused. It's not going to make a lot of sense. And plus, it's always better to see the movie first. But let's talk spoilers, guys. Whatever you want to bring up, bring it up, and we can kind of jump around and hit the things that we didn't feel free to talk about inside the podcast proper. I'm specifically interested, Barrett, you said something about a scene that you really hated that would spoil things. Let's start there. What was that?
Well, it's basically the finale. So you've got 2 parts of the finale happening. You've got Chris Pine and his merry band of fellows over there trying to get the plane off the ground and explode the poisonous gas in the atmosphere, which also would probably be dangerous too, but that's beside the point. The fight between Ares and Diana drove me nuts, man. And I shouldn't have, because I should expect it. It devolves into gods punching each other in the face again.
Yeah.
And it's like, how many times? We just saw this in, well, I guess I shouldn't say what the other one was, because this is not that movie spoilers.
Another,
just
it was
literally
another
saw
superhero
this.
movie. Another superhero movie.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Like, why does it always have to come down to that? Why couldn't it be something godlike, you know? And that always gets to me, and that always will be a major complaint to me in movies like this.
Yes.
That was my one con that I said was spoilers that I couldn't talk about. I'm tired of... I think Doctor Strange is the last superhero movie I saw that did it in a unique way, where the final battle was something that was like, okay, it's not just, I can punch you as hard as I can, now you punch me as hard as you can for 5 minutes. It was something totally unique, and I was kind of hoping that's where they were going to lean with this, but... No, unfortunately not.
Is the prototype for this Man of Steel? Is that kind of where this really started?
No, I think it's actually Matrix Revolutions is where.
Oh, that's a great call. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, it just seems
it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
It's like unlimited power, and I choose to throw a tank at you.
Yeah.
What? I don't. Why? You know, like it's not going to do anything. Yeah, no, I can totally see that. I will say I felt much more emotional and invested in the plane thing than I felt in their fight. You know, at the end, I felt like the sacrifice of
Steve
Trevor. I thought that was really good, and I thought it was played well. And you know, I think we all knew it was coming at a certain point. It wasn't like a surprise necessarily, but I don't think it was meant to be. And I thought it really played well with also kind of the themes in the movie too.
It does. The one thing that annoyed me about this, and I know I'm sounding like I don't like the movie anymore, but the one thing that annoyed me is that, and maybe this is Patty Jenkins, that she wanted to do this and the studio made her do a retread, but before he leaves, he's got that moment where Diana's, been blown, her ears have been blown out by the explosion, and he can't hear what he's saying to her. He's saying goodbye and I love you and all that stuff. And I thought that was awesome. Because you went through this whole thing where we can't hear him either, and I thought it was going to be like a lost in translation type of thing, where it's like, oh, we don't really know what it is. But then they circle back around to it, and you hear exactly what he says. I'm like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah, that
you could have gotten away with like keeping us in the dark, but whatever.
You like that, Aaron? Where they
I
circle
liked
back?
it. I liked the circling back. I thought it was brilliant.
I'm with Barrett. I think if they would have left that to where you could fill in whatever you wanted it to be, just
No, that's fine. I would have been okay with that, and I actually would have thought that was cool too. But I don't know that I've ever seen that done that way, and I really enjoyed it as a creative workaround to have that moment at the place, that emotional moment at the place where they wanted it in the the storyline. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a really creative solution, and so I enjoyed that part of it. That it was a creative solution to that. Yeah. Although it is interesting to think, did Wonder Woman not hear it ever?
No,
because she was. So it was only for us. It wasn't like Wonder Woman got to experience that.
That's the problem, is that she couldn't. It's from her perspective. She's remembering this, right?
Right.
Or is it from the other guy's perspective?
It's from
Chris Bryant's
from
perspective.
the second time around. It's from Steve's point of view, because I think it's a flashback from him right before he shoots. Like he's remembering the last thing he said to her.
Yeah.
So it's from his point of view.
Well, that's kind of bummer
around.
for Wonder Woman. Like that she doesn't ever get to know that.
No, she doesn't know what he said. So
let's tell her. Can we tell her? Can we find her? Make sure she knows.
We'll have Bruce send her an email. So
let's go into some other details if you guys like, whether it be about humor or action or there was something mentioned in the chat about, and maybe I'll just start here, about it being a more sexual movie than a lot of the superhero movies are. And I think what they're thinking of is just kind of the frank discussion that they were having about the pleasures of the flesh, those kind of things, which I thought was actually a really great scene. I really enjoyed that scene.
Yeah.
There's also the the hot tub moment where, he's naked and she walks in or whatever, and he's talking about it's that double entendre stuff.
Above average.
Yeah, the double entendre stuff that happens there.
Yeah.
So I guess I can see where he was coming from, but it's not necessarily something that, stood out to me when I was watching it.
I just want to say real quick, I want to live on Themiscyra because that place is gorgeous.
Yeah, that island. How'd you like the effect of the plane coming through and the boats coming through? How that worked?
I like that a lot.
It kind of reminded me of Kong Skull Island.
Yeah, it totally did. It totally did. But it worked in this one.
See, I think it's different than Kong Skull Island and things I've seen before, because with those things, there's an element of mystery to, wait, how did we get through the fog or those kind of things? But here, it's like a literal force field where you poke your head through, and all of a sudden you're seeing beauty, and on the other side, it's all, fog or whatever. I thought that was really interesting. I didn't know that I'd seen that kind of before. So, yeah, I enjoyed that element of it.
Oh, I'm totally with you on that one. What did you guys think of the initial, the growing up in Themiscyra? I thought that actually, it worked for me, like showing her as a young girl, and then, slowly growing up in Robin Wright, who was killer in this movie. I loved her character so much. And that, her death is the driving force that, pushes Diana to, be this great warrior. I loved Robin Wright's character in this movie.
Oh my goodness, and she's so different than she is in House of Cards. I mean, it's like I love when you remember how rangy some actors and actresses can be, and she's got such a great range to be able to play a part like this.
Yeah, that scene, that fight scene on the beach when the soldiers first show up is one of my favorite parts of the whole movie.
Was it your favorite fight scene? Was it your favorite action scene?
Actually, no. I think the battle on the front when she's running out there and the mini turrets are shooting her down. I actually got a little emotional because it was like, I'm like, I got maybe a little misty eyed in that part. I'm like, I don't know why this part is so powerful, but it's so working.
Well, you know what it
me.
is? It's because it's not just about the bullets. It's about the decision she's making not to listen to everybody else who's saying, look, there's a way things are done. We can't go across there. It's because she's saying, no, I care enough that I'm going to do it differently. And I'm going to, it's kind of it's that Rudy moment or that, take a stand moment or, or the Hoosiers moment, just I'm mentioning sports movies, but it's that kind of thing where, it's like
sports movies where they shoot bullets at you.
Yeah, exactly. It was like if in Hoosiers there was a tank. So no, it is powerful. I really thought that scene was really powerful.
Yeah, that was probably the most powerful part of the whole movie for me.
Yeah.
Okay, I know we're jumping around here. Did either of you know that it was going to be Thwaites who was going to end up being Ares?
He was one of my choices.
Really?
My other choice was the woman with the mask.
Ludendorff, or not Ludendorff.
I knew it wasn't. I knew it wasn't Ludendorff. Yeah. Right? Like, what do you think, Barrett?
Oh no, no. I didn't really think about it though. It could have really been anybody, and I don't know why they settled on David freaking Thewlis. Man, this guy is like. I mean, it's Professor Lupin. Like he was in like. Anomalisa a few years ago. Chris was just talking about that movie the other day, and he's like a perfectly innocuous actor that's like in his 50s and poses no threat whatsoever. But by the end of it, he's putting on this godlike armor, and it just made me laugh.
Yeah.
I kind of like that, though, because it's different, It's not your typical, buff kind of thing. There's something interesting there.
I would have been more content and okay with it if they would have just said, no, here's just somebody who's don't have a what is it? What am I thinking of? Like it's the bird reference I'm thinking of.
The bird reference?
The red herring, yeah.
Oh.
Forgive me. Anyway, don't have a red herring where somebody else. I'm an idiot. Cut that out, Aaron. Cut that out. Right. So, don't have a red herring where it's somebody else in the movie. Just have it's Ares as his own person, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm okay with it not being Ludendorff. I knew it wasn't going to be Ludendorff.
Right.
It's too obvious. But don't have it be Remus Lupin.
I thought they were going to do the thing where both our hero and our villain were female. Like, I thought they were going to, like, juxtapose, that whole thing. And so I thought that's where we were headed. But instead, she actually was the ultimate act of grace, which I really loved that, too, where it was like this person who was doing everything evil. You see the humanity in them still,
You said...
Yeah, I don't know. I wish they would have... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was wondering, I wish they had developed that Dr. Poison character more because, like, that was super interesting. Like, she had a moment there with Chris Pine at the gala, and you could tell, like, I'm sure it was, edited out and everything. God knows there wasn't much edited out, but, like, there was layers to her. And, you could only... The only thing that you could predict about that character was that plastic stuff on her face was going to come off in the last scene. And
right.
Underneath
yeah.
it. But I think you could have explored that, and I agree. I think that would have been a cooler trick to have her be Ares at the end.
Yeah, it could have been interesting that way. But I knew it was either her or there were obviously clues that he was something different, like the way he would look at scenes or the way he would. There was some foreshadowing there that he was more involved than he was letting on.
I thought it was going to be Daphne the secretary as Ares the god of war.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting for sure. Do you guys want to talk about the team? Like the other three members of their team?
I like them a lot. I think I would have liked to have seen Chief develop more backstory with that character. But I'm forgetting his name, the Scotsman. Mm-hmm. I thought that they really fleshed out his character in a really interesting way. The shell
guy from
shock.
Snowpiercer, right?
Yeah, Snowpiercer, and he's. I think he was in Snatched and Lock, Stock as well. But I really like him.
Did I blink and miss it, or did the subplot about him not being able to shoot actually never come back into the story? Did he have a moment where he was able to conquer that and actually marksman something?
He just started shooting at one point. I don't think they made a big deal about it, though.
Okay, because I found that interesting that they seem to set up this thing, and I actually don't have a problem with this because it becomes kind of cliche at some point, where it's like they can't pull the trigger, and then in the exact moment where it needs to happen, he pulls the trigger.
Like Magnificent Seven kind of stuff.
Sure, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's like, I don't think they ever came back to that at all.
No.
So I found that interesting.
And I forget his name, but what's the third one? I'm trying to remember that character's name. Anyway, but he was really... Samir, yeah, thank you. I really liked his character a lot. I thought he added a different layer that I didn't expect to see in any of those other characters, and I really appreciated him as well.
The other thing we didn't talk about, and I guess is kind of spoilery, is the bookends of this movie are modern day and deal with her receiving the original picture that is from this movie from Bruce Wayne, saying maybe someday you'll tell me your whole story kind of thing. This movie did not really delve into the greater DC universe except for those bookends, and I love that. That's great. Like, I love just, staying in the place where you are. How did you guys feel about those bookends, about the greater DC universe, all that kind of stuff?
I mean, I could care less, honestly. I enjoyed this as a movie, and I agree with you that keeping that stuff out of there. There's a reason that Iron Man and Captain America, the first Avenger, were so strong in the Marvel universe, is because they weren't burdened by all that stuff,
right?
Of having to fit in a greater universe. Even Thor, for all of its problems, didn't concern itself with having to get a cameo of this or this or this in there. And I think that's where you can develop your own story, which this was. So yeah, I'm glad they kept their Batmans out of my Wonder Woman.
I totally agree.
Guardians did it well too. There wasn't a lot of Marvel extraneous stuff in Guardians either. In Guardians 2, I should say.
Yeah.
So I thought that was, interesting, because usually Marvel, I mean, that's their whole thing, is making sure that everything connects and everything touches and that kind of thing. But
I think I said during Guardians 2 that I was surprised that they didn't tie into Infinity War, but the more I've thought about it, I'm glad that they didn't. I'm changing my mind on that one. So
yeah. Anything else you guys want to bring up?
Well, hold on. Can she fly?
I'm really thinking about that.
No, she can just jump
really well,
really far and really high.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Because it looked like she could fly, right? Like she attacks dude from above, and then final shot is her like jumping off of a building. And
oh yeah,
she just keeps going
that's
up.
A jump.
In the comic, she can fly.
No, she does fly at the end. She does when she does her final gauntlet thing with him. She's floating.
Yeah. Right. So so in the comic she can fly.
She can.
Yeah, I think I think she can fly.
I never really thought that she could.
Yeah, she can fly. Well,
maybe she was in her invisible jet and we just didn't know it.
The original one, she had the invisible jet, which I was so hoping there would be no reference to an invisible jet in this, and I'm so glad there was no invisible jet.
It was there.
Oh, it was there.
It was there the entire movie, man. It was there.
That's an Easter egg right there.
That's right.
It's parked on the Louvre, actually.
Probably is. Yeah, I really don't have anything else that's really extra spoilery that I wanted to talk about.
I do have a question.
Sure.
So at the very end of the movie, at the bookend, you were saying, she jumps off. What was she jumping towards? I didn't see anything. Because it looked like she's like, oh, I got to go fight something. Like, I thought I heard a noise and then her, go outside and then jump to fight something.
I was confused, too. Barrett, do you know what that was about at the very end? Or it was just it's time for her
a money shot.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it was. It's that whole thing. Spider-Man movies always do that, where he's always off to the next, swinging through town to the next thing when it ends, kind of. And you don't necessarily have to know what it's about, but it's like Wonder Woman comes to save the day.
Gotta go fight Paul Giamatti. Yeah, I can't recommend this movie enough. I loved it. I'm so glad that DC made a good movie.
It is nice, and it's interesting I do think there is a little bit of the backlash to the backlash that can happen, where especially for people like me who do movie criticism for almost every movie that comes out, where it's like you want to love it so much because you want people to stop saying it's just because it's DC that you hate it. And so I do think there's a little bit of even a tendency to like it more because I want to. I want to finally be able to say, yay, DC, you made a good one, kind of thing. So I try to really put on my, my lasso of truth when I'm looking at it, because I want to make sure I'm not giving it points just because I want to, too. So, but I think this one's really good. I think it is.
I've noticed something lately with, maybe it's just the summer blockbuster thing, but whenever it comes to spoiler for summer blockbusters, there's not really much to unpack.
No, not a lot. I mean, the big reveal of who Ares was would, obviously be considered a big spoiler. The fact that Steve dies is a big spoiler. Yeah. Those two things really are the major ones.
Did you guys know, I don't know how familiar you are with the DC universe, but did you know the whole Ares and the gods, the Greek gods, did you know that they played into the DC universe?
No, I actually had no clue in that.
No.
Yeah, she's almost like, Wonder Woman is almost like part Captain America, part Thor. She's kind of got
the mythology element.
Yeah, the aspects of both of them.
Yeah,
in that universe. But man, I love the way she fights. That is one, to me, just those flips in slow motion, and I don't think it was overused. And I felt like in the action scenes, I was aware of what was going on, which I'm glad there wasn't a ton of quick cut, kind of nonsense that happens in a lot of action movies now.
Yeah.
I was aware of the geography of it and understood, what especially that beach battle scene. I just thought was phenomenal.
It's so good. Whenever they jump off the cliff and they shoot those arrows to swing across. Yeah. I'm like, they're going to kick some butt.
Yeah. Some of that stuff. I don't know that I've had, I'm sure I've had them here and there, but I don't know that I've had to that level of exhilaration for some of that stuff since the first time I saw Legolas, do some of the stuff that he does, where it's just that is insanely impossible. And also I love it.
This movie got me excited about being emasculated.
What does that mean?
I'm like, yeah, kick guys' butts. Guys suck. This is great. I loved it.
Kick guys' butts. Guys suck.
Yeah.
I think that's on the poster for Wonder Woman. I think that's actually how they're promoting it.
That T-shirt's going to be for sale in the Flick Freak store. So,
well, thanks, guys. I appreciate the extra time to chat spoilers. Barrett's always awesome hanging out with you, getting to chat movies. So thanks for taking some time to chat Wonder Woman with us.
Absolutely. This was fun, guys.
Oh, it's always fun.
All right, we will be back with spoilers for The Mummy. Anything we can go ahead and spoil about The Mummy even before we've seen it?
It sucks.
Yeah.
No, you don't get to say that before you see something. That's the whole point. I bet I can.
It really looks bad, though.
I bet we can spoil that Tom Cruise does something crazy, and it's actually him doing something crazy.
Well,
on
you
the
haven't seen the trailers yet, then have you? You haven't seen the cool practical effect thing they did. Okay, yeah, I'm excited for you to see that.
Okay, cool. All right, we'll catch you next week for some chat on that. Until then, peace out.
Bye.
Peace out.